just what I want to say.
Okay. Welcome back to Once Upon a Tiny Farm. Today I want to talk about arugula. And arugula is one crop that I had planned to have at our market every single week. But what happened is the bugs got to it. We had it for about 2 weeks in the beginning of late May, early June. And when the weather got really hot, the bugs just started eating the leaves so bad that it was just too ugly to sell. So I stopped growing it because I hadn't invested in any kind of netting, insect netting to protect it. So like I said, I haven't been growing it because I didn't get the insect netting that I needed to protect it. But I just watched a video, an old video that Curtis Stone made a couple of years ago, and he was touring a farm down in Tennessee, and he showed how they used a kind of insect netting called Protect Net, which I ordered and I got today. So I got that insect netting today, and what they did in the video was they just put the netting directly on top of the crop. Right after they seed it, they just put the netting down without any hoops or anything like that off the ground. They just put it right on the ground, and they say as the plant grows, or the crop grows, it will just lift the net up, and then when it's ready to make that first cut, you could just take that netting off, make the first cut, and then they just leave the insect netting off after that first cut, and then they could get a second cut, I guess without bugs. But let me show you here. I did a little trial a couple of weeks ago trying arugula without bug netting as the weather started to get a little bit cooler, and of course the bugs still got to it, and I'll show you what that looked like. See, I put this is not insect netting, this is just a row cover. It's called Agribon. This is what the bugs have done to the arugula. As soon as it came up from the ground, they started getting at these tiny leaves. So what was recommended in the video by Curtis Stone that I watched is just to seed the stuff, seed your arugula, and then cover it immediately with the insect netting. And I don't want to destroy this row, even though it already has bugs on it. I'm gonna keep it covered with this Agribon stuff. It's cheap stuff, but I just don't want it to get any worse. But I just got the Protect Net insect netting, and I'm gonna use that right now. All right, so this is the package I got. Protect Net, 60 gram. It's almost, babe. It is almost 7 feet wide and 164 foot long roll here. So I'm gonna end up cutting it about 26 or 27 feet each to cover, just a little bit extra to cover each 25-foot row. And that width will cover 2 rows at once. And I might actually cut them in half, so I could just cover one particular row at a time. So that's what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna cut them at lengths that I need, that 25-foot length. So this is what the roll looks like. It's very small holes, the netting. This was actually the cheapest roll that they had on the website. I got it from a company called DeBoy. I will post a link to the website where I got this below. But yeah, this is cool. I'm gonna get this cut up into the length that I want, and then I'm gonna go put it on the rows where I've planted my arugula. So right here in these 2 rows, I just planted arugula here last night right before a rainstorm, and over here I have another row of red Russian kale, and it's pretty bug free, the red Russian kale. I wasn't really worried about that with the bugs, but I want to see how this row cover will cover, if it will cover both of these rows at once. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. Alright, so this fits our rows perfect. Now our rows are 30 inches wide, and I'm fairly sure that I thought this was going to be 6 foot 9 inches wide, and as you could see, it's not. It's not that wide, but it is wide enough to cover one of our 30-foot beds. So hopefully it's still 164 feet long, because I was hoping to get enough to cover quite a few of these beds. So I could plant our arugula next year every week under these insect nettings. So I have 2 more rows to cover. I'm going to do the exact same thing, make 2 more cuts and cover them, and then in a couple weeks I guess we'll come back and finish this video and see how the arugula is looking, and hopefully it will be bug free. We got 1, 2, 3 rows of arugula under this new Protect Net insect netting, and 1 row under the Agribon netting. That actually, there is still the bug bites that were originally, when the bugs originally got to this when it was unprotected, but ever since I covered it with this Agribon stuff, it hasn't gotten worse. So I guess we'll see how messed up the final crop is in another week or 2, hopefully, when this is large enough to get my first cut. We'll see. But I'm sure that this Agribon stuff would probably work close to as well as the other insect netting. The insect netting, it has very tiny holes, but this is, so when it gets watered, I have overhead watered sprinklers, the crop will still get the water through the netting, which is really cool. So this is an experiment. We'll see how this arugula grows, and hopefully lifts up the net and keeps the bugs off. And I am determined to grow arugula. I want to grow arugula. I want to grow arugula next year, so this is kind of a trial to hopefully make it work, because we got to get the bags of arugula on our farm stand at the market. So in a couple weeks we'll come back and see how the bug netting did. Alright, so we're a few weeks later here with the bug netting, and we're going to take a look and see how it held up to the bugs. And what I notice right away is the bugs, I think this is my fault. Around the edges here, I did not secure the ends of these really tight to the ground, so they were able to still get under and eat the crap out of these leaves of arugula. But as we move further into the middle of the row, they're a lot better in the middle. But around the edges where I didn't secure the edges of this bug netting, they were able to get under it. So like, my fear was that if I held it down too tight, you know, it wouldn't give them enough space to grow up into the net. But I left it so loose that I think, yeah, this is still pretty bad. So I guess in the future, have to hold down the edges of this bug netting a lot better. But really, I think this is my fault, because I just made this super loose and I thought this would be good enough, but I don't think it was. Not at all. So that was an experiment fail. But here I should have put a couple bricks or weights down here so nothing could get underneath the fabric around the edges. So that was a big mistake by me. There is some usable arugula in the middle of the row. All right, so not gonna lie, a little bit disappointed with that outcome with the bug netting. That was a bit of an expense that I decided to go for at the end of this season, but not gonna go out and say that it doesn't work, because I think I just didn't secure around the edges like I should have. So next year we will come back and I will have learned from this what I think is a mistake, because everybody swears by this bug netting. So next year we will hold it down around the edges a lot better, and I'll get back to you guys in the spring with hopefully better news that the bug netting keeps our greens, our baby greens, bug free. So not a great ending to the video, but I promised when I started this farming series that I would share the good and the bad. This was a bad, it was a fail, but hopefully others, if you're watching, learn from my mistake. If you spend the money to get this Protect Net bug netting, make sure that you hold it down around the edges so that the bugs can't still get in there and get at your baby greens. All right, so that's going to wrap up this video. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to our channel if you're new and you haven't done that already. I would appreciate it. Like this video, and we'll see you next time.